Thanks for joining us. I'm Alex Bell, and this is To The Point. We're giving you more information and context about issues impacting us right here in Northern California. And a pressing issue we hear time and time again is homelessness. Sacramento's homeless population had a jump of 67% from the last point in time count just 3 years ago. Local and state politicians are really feeling the pressure, and policymakers across the state have taken steps to fix the issue. But the million-dollar question is, how long before we see actual progress? And perhaps the most obvious answer is more housing. Governor Newsom's goal is to get 2.5 million homes built by 2030. The governor signed several bills last month that will help streamline the process to build new and affordable housing. But here on the city level, Lisa Bates from the Sacramento Steps Forward, a group that's working to coordinate homeless efforts, says that one of the focuses of their 3-year plan is prevention.
We need to do a lot more on the front end. We need to catch people early and prevent homelessness from occurring. And so we're with our coordinated access program and 211, as well as increasing resources to help engage with people to problem solve so that they can remain housed before they are about to slip into homelessness.
Sacramento Steps Forward conducts the point in time count here in Sacramento. I've even volunteered in the point in time count, and I can tell you it is very difficult to get an accurate count. The Public Policy Institute of California says that policymakers need accurate information about the homeless population to really make informed decisions. But they found in a recent study that a good place to start looking is hospitals. The group found that hospitals' discharge data could help policymakers see how people engage with programs and where to allocate more or invest in better fitting resources. So really, the main takeaway is that there are a dozen projects that are all in the works, but they will all take a lot of time. All right, now homelessness is a major issue in California voters. It's something that they really care about, and the polls also show that. But there's also another issue. Not everyone feels empowered to vote, and that's why ABC 10 is going out and we're talking with voters to help them connect with information. Becca Habegger and I were out in the community just this morning. Take a look.
Well, I do vote, but I'm wondering if my vote counts.
Jamela Jennings owns J-Spot Kitchen at New Arcade Market on Marysville Boulevard in North Sacramento's South Hagenwood neighborhood. ABC 10 was here Friday morning talking with people about voting.
All throughout election season, ahead of November 8, which is the general election, we're really going into communities to better understand what are informational needs that people have and what would help empower people to vote. We're handing out voter cards, which is going to include important dates to keep in mind, as well as important resources, websites you can go to check if you're registered to vote.
Some folks have been saying that they have voted already. They got their mail-in ballots. Some of them haven't. Some of them are still in question if they want to vote or not.
Even though Jennings votes, she says she understands and even shares people's concerns.
I think because we just don't trust that our votes are being counted. You know what I mean? I think it's rigged. I think they know what they're voting for before it gets, to the offices, to the voting polls. So that's how we feel.
She says homelessness is a major issue she cares about and believes her community is harder hit than more affluent communities nearby.
A lot of people are on drugs out here. No one's doing anything. You can't walk around like that in Rockland, and pitch a tent in Rockland, so I don't know why it's just they keep it right here and it's like they don't care. No one cares.
Crime is another major issue, she says.
A lot of deaths with our young kids, a lot of young teenagers and young people of color are being killed on the streets, and I don't think enough is being done about that.
And I think one of the important things that we're keeping in mind is that for a lot of people, they don't think that their vote matters, and that's something that we've definitely heard. And so through this effort, we're really hoping to empower people to really feel like, hey, my vote does matter because I can make a difference in this community.
Hopefully, with our conversations, or at least some of that voter information that we did provide them, will persuade them into at least considering to vote or to looking into the process.
Earlier this month, ABC 10 spoke with voters at the Hmong Art Exhibit event organized by Hmong Youth and Parents United and hosted at the Hope Center.
To me, voting is really important because you just want to get your voice out there. It's a really great way to, voice your opinion and, advocate for yourself.
Yeah, I like voting because you can decide on who is advocating for you, especially in representatives and stuff, when you feel like, oh, you're just a small voice, but you can vote for people that will advocate for you.
And Becca's with me now. We were out bright and early this morning talking to some voters. but we're really focusing on North and South Sacramento. Can you explain why that is?
Yeah, our race and culture team here at ABC 10 looked at the zip codes where we saw the lowest voter turnout during the primaries, and we wanted to go to those areas and not only connect voters with information about how to register to vote, how to find impartial, unbiased information, just very, easy to digest information in terms of what do these props really mean? What does this measure L? What are, things like that can be very hard to digest with the language in some of the voter guides,
it's
right?
a lot. I mean, you see the voter guides, they're like this thick.
Yeah, like back in college reading a textbook again, right? Yeah. We also, though, want to ask these voters what's keeping them from, or people that they know, loved ones, keeping them from casting that vote. You heard that some people feel very discouraged, right?
Yeah, we were talking with someone today, the woman that you actually saw in the interview, and she was saying that she felt like her vote didn't matter.
Right, and we talked with a few other folks who told us that they deeply distrust politicians, think the system is broken, and they just are choosing not to engage at all.
Yeah, but we are continuing our engagement efforts. We're actually going to be out tomorrow on Saturday. We have a whole lot of events, but Saturday is one of them.
Yeah, tomorrow we will be at the South Sacramento Festival at North Laguna Creek Park from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can check out the whole list of our outreach events at abc10.com/politics. That's also, by the way, where we just dropped this long list of short, bite-sized, super helpful informational videos.
Digestible information, yes.
On the propositions. All of these wordy propositions, our ABC 10 Brandon Rittiman broke it down. They're great videos. Highly recommend them.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks, Becca. Always great seeing you on a Friday, too.
Happy Floral Friday.
Oh, yeah, Floral Friday. All right, we are deep into election season, and there is no shortage of political ads this year. But do they have to tell you the truth? We're getting into that after the break. Midterms are right around the corner, and as usual, we're getting flooded with political ads, as you probably just saw in the break. But do they have to be truthful in order to be broadcasted? To be clear and upfront, the answer is simple: no. The rules for political ads are actually very different than typical consumer products. In fact, politicians can pretty much just say whatever they want in a commercial. Political ads are regulated by the FCC, which applies just two rules. Take a listen to this. One is that candidates have the same opportunity to buy commercial time on stations. And two is that politicians can, again, literally say whatever they want. But accuracy is not one of those rules. And this tactic is effective. A few months ago, we spoke with political analyst Steve Swat, who said that attack ads are used simply because they work if done properly. They expose voters to new and negative information about candidates that perhaps otherwise would not have been revealed. So the only consequence for politicians to produce misleading or false ads is court, and that's if they defame someone, which is rare and just difficult to prove. So it's really up to you, the voter, to sort through what's true and what's false. So make sure that you are checking out the fine print on the ad that you see on TV, and you can even take a look at who's funding it. And if you haven't checked your mailbox, your ballot should be waiting for you. And there are plenty of props on the ballot this election. ABC 10 is doing all the work for you to help make sense of some of them. And as Becca and I were talking about earlier, investigative journalist Brandon Rittiman is going to be helping us break everything down that you need to know. We've got simple explainers up at abc10.com/politics, because as Brandon puts it, you get to be a lawmaker in California elections. All right, when we come back after the break, we're taking a break from all the politics. Don't worry, we're done. But we're heading out to the countryside to enjoy a glass of wine, or maybe even two. And we're taking a trip to one of the few Latino-owned wineries in California. And guess what? It's right in our own backyard. All right, as we close out Hispanic Heritage Month, we want to introduce you to a couple following their dreams of winemaking. Now, you won't find many Latino-owned vineyards in California, but this couple will tell you it's their culture that has empowered them to do this. Conchetta Callahan took a trip to the countryside to tell us their story.
This stunning vineyard view is just an hour-and-a-half drive from downtown Sacramento in Fairplay, California. Dina Santos and John Avila have been married for 21 years, and with a lot of hard work, the couple is living their dream of owning a vineyard.
There's very few Latinos that own vineyards and that have, their own wine. So we're proud of what we've done.
Vino de Oro means wine of gold in Spanish. And our property here in El Dorado County, Fairplay, Appalachian, is actually an old gold mine.
You can see them in the distance, impressive in-mountain gold mines that date back to the 1860s.
We have to do a toast to you guys. Salud.
Salud.
And what are we tasting in the Tempranillo?
Pure excitement. Cherry, vanilla, clove.
Dina and John aren't trained winemakers. They learn by helping friends in all aspects of winemaking and pouring, even managing a vineyard. They had been yearning for a weekend escape from the stress of their day-to-day lives.
Well, we both have pretty intense day jobs. I'm an attorney and John works for the state in technology.
They bought the 45-acre property in 2008 and got to work planting. With lots of family help, these picturesque views at Vino de Oro vineyards became fruitful and ripe.
You see rows and rows of vines, 7,000 vines to be exact. It took a few years for the vines to fully grow so that they could harvest the fruit, and now they've been selling wine for almost 6 months.
So my dad is Mexican and my mom is Spanish. So, hence the Spanish varietals. This is who we are.
So both sides of my family are, Hispanic, Latino culture, so we wanted to craft wines that really expressed how they went well with food.
It's a labor of love. From grape to glass, Vino de Oro produces fragrant wines from nature's juice, growing mainly Spanish varietal grapes. The couple says their wine pairs really well with Spanish dishes.
Oh yeah, the Tempranillo goes really nice with spicy foods.
The Malbec, again, good with big, like heavy moles and carne asadas, things like that. Something lighter like the garnacha goes lovely with like ceviche or some kind of like seafood platter as well.
Running this place is a family affair. Dina's brother gave up his firefighter career in Tucson, Arizona to help run the vineyard with his family.
It's teaching them work ethic and to appreciate the land and what we have.
It definitely is a cultural thing in terms of a close-knit family and being very supportive of each other.
Dina's 74-year-old dad says it's not easy work dealing with the recent fires and California's drought, but admits it's easier than his cotton-picking days in Arizona.
What's easier about it?
Drinking the wine.
My life has kind of come full circle. I grew up and I did work in the fields with my dad, and at that time I thought to myself, I'm going to be educated, I'm going to go to school, which I did, but I always missed the tranquility of the land, and thankfully we were in a position to be able to buy our land, and now we have our vineyard. So there's something, I think, culturally that is ingrained in you, that this love of the land.
When you look out here and you see all of your vines, all 7,000 of them, what do you think to yourself as part of orgullo, like you're proud?
We are proud. It's been a lot of work.
It just shows, hard work really does pay off.
All right, it is time to hit the back roads. John Bartel is taking us on a drive to the top of California's highest road. It's the summit of White Mountain Peak out in Mono County.
14,200 feet. That's the summit of White Mountain. It's also the end of California's highest drivable road. From the rocky parking lot, you're exactly 253 feet below Mount Whitney, the tallest mountain in California and the lower 48 states. On a clear day, you can see Death Valley to the south and Yosemite National Park to the north. But getting to the end of California's highest road is no easy task.
It's it's so unmaintained and awful and bouncy and ugh.
The nearest paved road is behind a lock gate 7 miles from the summit. The rugged landscape is home to bighorn sheep, and around every steep switchback, there's a chance fallen rocks are in your way.
You can get head rush.
Yeah?
Oh yeah.
You feel a little loopy here, don't you?
Yeah.
Steve DeVanzo and his dog Sugar are with the University of California White Mountain Research Center, and he's one of the few people actually permitted to drive a vehicle to the summit. And that loopiness that I'm feeling is actually the beginning symptoms of what could turn into altitude sickness.
Yeah, it's just hypoxia. The percentage of oxygen is the same in the air, but there's less atmosphere, so you're actually taking in less oxygen.
Compared to standing at sea level, there is 42% less breathable air on top of White Mountain Peak. Hypoxia affects people in many different ways, and hypoxia is actually one of the main reasons that this road exists.
What were they doing up here?
They were doing human physiology studies on subjects, on human subjects.
Subjects were required to spend 20 days, restricted to the very top of the mountain.
In 1948, White Mountain Peak was a Navy research facility, but then in the 1950s, the University of California took it over and built several high-altitude testing laboratories, including this one, the Summit Hut at the top of White Mountain.
Oh, yeah. The amenities, they're limited here.
Human testing at the White Mountain Research Center has helped scientists get baseline data for all sorts of research. Research used in high-altitude flights and the early space race, but the focus has always been on understanding hypoxia and the severity of altitude sickness.
It happens a lot and people die. It's like your brain swells up in your head or your lungs fill with fluids, and if you can't get them out in a certain amount of time, they're basically dead.
About 1,500 feet below the Summit Hut, modern hypoxia studies regularly take place at the Barcroft Station. Scientists from all over the world come here to gather baseline data that can be used in medical treatments for all sorts of illnesses.
So there's certain conditions like COPD and COVID that manifest as hypoxia. So when we do research up here, we can look at a healthy human model and try to figure out the normal way people respond to hypoxia.
Although university researchers are the only ones allowed to drive up California's highest road, it's perfectly fine for anyone to walk the 7 miles to the summit. And for her 69th birthday, Sarah Warmbrot did a little hypoxia research of her own.
It wasn't bad.
Not too bad.
I mean, it really wasn't. You just keep going, take a few breaks for water, and just keep moving.
And mountain biker Casey Shefstein got a different result.
How was your bike ride up here?
It's a lot of walking for a bike ride.
Oh. Hypoxia affects humans in many different ways, and that's why it's so difficult to study. But thanks to this long, bumpy road, scientists have a pathway to new remedies. From the top of White Mountain, California's highest road, I'm John Bartel. Hope to see you on the back roads.
John never sleeps. He never sleeps. He's always out. And he's actually covered a lot of ground on his quest to explore all of California's back roads. You can check them all out on abc10.com/backroads, or you can just text backroads to 916-321-3310. We'll send a map literally straight to your phone so you can plan your next road trip. All right, let's get it back outside, take a look at our Gilmore backyard here. Not too bad seeing these temperatures on a Friday. And as we get closer to the weekend, still look like it's going to be pretty beautiful. Here's a quick check of your 10-day forecast. We've covered a lot of ground this week. Youth programs, mental health, retirement, and even planetary defense, just to name a few topics. And you can check them all out online at abc10.com/tothepoint. And please let us know if you have something you want us to look into. All you have to do is just shoot me an email at tothepoint@abc10.com. I also want to note that Joey, who wrote into us, if you're out there, Mushroom Kingdom, here we come. Have a great weekend.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's nice of you guys. Okay, so you have a thing tomorrow at 11? No. Oh, you guys don't have to be in South Sac?
Hey, it's Alex. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I really love hearing from everyone, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. Reach out to me on Facebook at AlexBellTV, or you can email me at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send me a text message at 916-321-3310.